Hi, Tommy Heffernan here with Precision Microbes. Welcome back to our next Tech in 10.
Yep. Hi, Ryan Duffy from Precision Microbes as well. So, Tommy, we're going to discuss what you've been up to over the last number of weeks. You've been over in the United Kingdom doing some farmer meetings. So, how have you been getting on?
Just some of the things that I suppose we're pressing go on Tech in 10. Some of the bits of feedback I was over with, I always mix this up and they give out to me, AHDB. There we go again.
That's the one.
So 4 farmer meetings up and down across country Wales and across the UK. Farmers, vets, industry. I suppose what I took from it, Ryan, there was a few things. Larger teams, there's more and more people focused in on calf rearing.
Specifically in calf rearing.
Yeah. So what was interesting, there's a lot of people coming from outside farming backgrounds. Who started into calf rearing in larger farms. That seemed to be a percentage of the audience. I know there's lots of family farms there as well. But new people coming in, really soaking up the training atmosphere and the peer-to-peer learning, and not just what I was saying. So that was an interesting one. So we talked actually, and again, maybe not in order, a lot about communication. So I wasn't saying anything new around some of the stuff that I was talking about with calf health. Although a lot of people had interest in water quality, I'll put that down there. But just the communication piece in farm, what are people using? WhatsApp groups are one, the use of whiteboards, routines and SOPs. There's big discussions on that.
Okay. So I see here now you've put down a number of other things that obviously have come up.
Yeah, so colostrum.
Yeah, nothing new.
Nothing new. Yeah, so we talked a lot about colostrum. Some of the interesting questions that came up is testing every sample. The necessity for it. Not every farm is doing it. Time consumption. Some people made a point. Some from industry made a point. If you got your dry cow management right, would you need to test every sample? I think it's still good practice. Mm-hmm. One of the interesting things that I've seen talking to vets over there over the last couple of months even is that the heat stress over the summer has seemed to have an impact on both, I suppose, calf health, cow health, but also colostrum quality. So we did spend a bit of time talking about the factors that affect dry cow management as well.
All the more reason to test the actual colostrum. So, and by testing, you're talking about your Brix refractometer.
Yeah, which is a lot of farms are doing here. I think it was sporadic over there. Some farms are testing every sample, some aren't. So we had good discussions around that. Spent a lot of time about talking about harvesting colostrum and the hygiene. Mm-hmm. That was something that probably wasn't discussed before with a lot of the group that I was talking to, looking at bacterial counts in dump buckets, stomach tubes. People are quite interested in that.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely an area I think most industries can probably benefit from.
Yeah.
It's often overlooked, as you said. The dump bucket is often overlooked. Maybe tubes aren't cleaned every time. So there's no doubt lots and lots of microbes floating around there.
Yeah, the wrong ones as well. Mm-hmm. So interestingly, something that I've picked up in the meetings, all around calving systems, obviously. Mm-hmm. And, we've very much a snatch approach. I think general, people will talk about snatching. A lot of farms, a percentage of farms were leaving calves on calves for 24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
So not snatching. So I thought that was interesting. So we had good discussions around that. And I had the attitude of it's not broken, don't fix it. It's not something everyone would try. But a lot of these farms are actually measuring total proteins. And you can explain what total proteins are. And are actually, even with that system, are doing okay. So it raised a question for me.
Yes.
I think, I would stay with snatching, but a lot of these farms, a high percentage are leaving calves on cows.
And that is without, are they waiting for the calf to suckle the colostrum?
Calf is suckling the colostrum.
Okay, so it's not being taken off the cow and then subsequently put into the calf. Okay.
No, it was a time thing, and so maybe some of the smaller farms that are all year round calving, they're doing it. But they are measuring total protein. So one of the other things is the vet practices over there are doing a lot of work with their farms on blood testing calves to check for passive transfer.
Yes. So the main value in colostrum that everyone kind of focuses on is the protein or the antibody levels. So we're actually going to measure the antibodies that are inside the calf, how effective that translation from the mammary gland into the calf's bloodstream. That's what you're looking for with total protein?
Yeah, so and they seem to be quite positive. So overall, I thought it was very interesting. They're doing quite a good job. Probably the hygiene piece, because you might have good quality colostrum, but you could have a lot of bugs going in there as well. The dry cow challenges with heat is something new. the all-year-round calving, leaving the calf on the cow, again, with great caution, but we had some good discussions on that. And I suppose we went from talking about colostrum to talking about transition milk and feeding.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what was the main findings there in respect to how long they feed transition milk and when they start milk replacers?
Yeah, so people are really struggling with transition milk and how to get it in all year-round systems in particular, or how to manage transition milk. Two farms, there's over 250 farmers, vets, and industry at these different meetings between the 4 days. 2 farms are actually pasteurising transition milk as a management tool. I think people are underutilising it. The trend on feeding, though, was very much, more milk is a trend that people are catching on to. Massive confusion around messaging on milk replacers, so we went back to basics on that. But there is a trend to increasing milk. A lot of questions about how or when can you start getting calves up to that 3.5, 4 litres twice a day. That was a lot of that. And again, a lot of questions around maybe weaning time. I think there's a lot of challenges in the two weeks before weaning in relation to acidosis and probably poor management there as well.
Okay, is associated with feeding more milk or associated with just the weaning practices?
I think probably people aren't given that transition, longer transition. And it's very important if we are going up in more milk, they make those adaptations later to weaning.
Okay. It's a conversation that is becoming more and more common here in Ireland too. So it's good to see that the trend is going that way.
Hygiene routines is another thing, Ryan. We talked a lot about the difference between disinfectant and detergents and disinfectants. As it happened, I had 2 hygienists from the human side that were farming as well. So with great discussions around routines that were practical. Time was a big factor there. Farms, again, the trend continued. Farms that were cleaning milk bars and milk feeders after every feed quite intensively, they were getting less digestive issues and stuff like that.
Okay. Again, it's making sense. It's coming back to the colostrum. If the bugs are floating around, we're only asking for trouble. As for housing, what's unique here, seeing as we have all year round calving seasons?
So I suppose the challenge with all year round calving seasons was that kind of deep clean between calves. So
no all in,
all out. No all in, no kind of break for sheds, how you manage that type of routine on farms. There was a lot of block calving there as well. It's such variability in housing. I think every single farm that was probably there had a slightly different housing system they were looking at. So we went back to basics on that. The challenges are still there around housing. There's no perfect calf house. The other thing then, I suppose, we talked about water quality. It's probably not been talked about enough. The conversation is starting, no doubt about it. We talked about doing a potable water sample in the calf house, not from the borehole or the well or from the mains. Get your potable water sample, see if it's drinkable in the calf house.
So header tanks and everything probably less common over there, more consistent water supply.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think some farms had header tanks. Okay. Nobody was testing water. Not as much automatic calf feeders potentially as we see here in Ireland. I don't know why that is. It seems to be a growing trend. More people are going towards that direction. But I did focus a lot on water testing.
Yeah, no, I think even from my own experience, lots of Pseudomonas in stagnant water. It's always there. It always latches on whenever there's any sort of still water, so header tanks and stuff like that. So what about Precision Microbes? How have Precision Microbes been getting on in the UK?
Good. So we were talking about general calf health, but over the last number of months, I've been over there once a week. Feedback's been really good. The reason we talk so much about this is, Precision Microbes is a tool for calf rearing. Even in all year round systems, it is helping with digestive health and support. Even the farms, look, we see a lot of farms using it because they want to reduce digestive upsets, but a lot of farms just see healthier, happier calves. And from a performance perspective as well, it's ticking the box there. So big uptake from UK farmers, and vet practices now as well are engaging with the product. So really, really happy with how that's going.
Fabulous. Well, I'm just looking at everything that you've covered there. The all in, all out system that doesn't exist really over there because of the all year round calving systems. We do have data to show that we can reduce the prevalence and severity of crypto. So if the prevalence of crypto can go down, that's massively important in a place where you just can't get in and clean all of the time.
Well, I was still promoting that deep clean where possible,
yeah.
But it certainly is more difficult to manage when you've calves constantly coming through. Mm-hmm. But it is a practice. So that was some of my feedback from my travels over there in those meetings.
Fantastic. Well, there's always a lot of learning involved in going to different industries and everything. It's always great to get these sort of conversations going. No doubt there's going to be a lot of our audience very, very interested. So thanks, Tommy, for giving us all of that feedback.
Thanks, Ryan. See you next time on Tech and 10.
Bye-bye.